With the continuation of our discussion series on the Band of Brothers, we head to Hagenau, Germany, towards the end of winter in 1945. Our featured character, Private David Webster, returns to Easy Company after missing the Battle of the Bulge due to injury. He very quickly finds himself alienated from the rest of his company as he did not have the same experiences as they did. With new leadership coming in the form of an inexperienced lieutenant of one Henry Jones, Easy Company is given the dangerous task of moving across the river in order to capture prisoners. Though many show reluctance and the fear of unnecessary casualties, not to mention the mental drainage from events prior, 15 men set out for the patrol. Tonight, we see the full effect of psychological warfare as we near the end of the war. So let's cross the river as we continue our discussion series on the Band of Brothers, Episode 8, The Last Patrol. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patty B. Not to be aggressive there. With me, as always, is Mr. B-Dog, Mr. Brandon. Cross that river with me, my man. I don't even know what the fuck I was doing there. What's going on, Mr. B-Dog? How are you doing today?
I don't even know what the hell you were doing. I even
Cross
just
the
sat
river
down.
with me, my man.
Well, I think we just got out of musical month, so now at this point, I think you're
I know you guys
done recording.
You got me singing all kinds of random jingles and stuff.
Sit down, John.
Philadelphia.
No.
See, we twiddle, and resolve. Not one damn thing do we solve.
Virginia. Oh, Virginia.
Oh, man. Did I tell you I got Mrs. Patty B hooked on that soundtrack of 76?
Yeah.
Dude, I got her hooked on it, man.
But we're going into episode 8, The Last Patrol. Let's go into it, Pat. There's really not a lot of setup other than we just left Bastogne. This is the first time we've seen them out of the Bastogne area. What's your take on this episode? I know you and I I want to hear your opinion before I kind of jump in with history.
Yeah, I mean, you could clearly tell, and there's a great, I think they do a great job of acting in this one, like carrying themselves. You start to really see the fatigue of battle from all the soldiers. Obviously, everyone can see that the war is near, right? We're kind of getting close to that. I mean, the fact that they're in Germany, right? I think this is the first episode where they actually cross into Germany. I found myself as bad, not bad, not in a bad way. I found myself, I think because we're so involved in doing these episodes, and me and you have watched these extensively, these episodes one after one, and I really found myself kind of resenting new arrivals or returning soldiers for some reason. I think maybe it's just because all the hell that they went through before this, just all the trials and tribulations of warfare, and the fact we get a couple of new characters kind of sprinkled into this episode. And then, I mean, obviously you can tell throughout the episode just the way that everyone's alienated from the new arrivals like Webster or the new lieutenant Jones, who's played by Colin Hanks, by the way, which, sometimes when I'm watching this, I always forget. I'm like, there's a reason why this guy's in here is because his dad produced it, right? I mean, would you say that's the truth, right? I mean,
Well,
nothing against Colin Hanks. I love Orange County, fantastic comedy. Got to check it out. But
but that's what I was reading on it too a little bit. And this is according to IMDb. I was actually looking at some stuff for this, and I made this note because I was kind of curious to see what you thought too. In a reflection of the situation his character faces, Colin Hanks was met with some indifference by the existing cast members who suspected that nepotism got him the role. The younger Hanks soon won the cast round with his dedication to his performance. I can kind of see that because this is the only episode we see him in. So it's kind of like, oh, hey, we're going to throw him in there and then that's it.
Yep.
Do I think he plays his role well? Yeah, absolutely he does.
Hmm.
He's a great addition to the show. He's a great addition to Easy Company during this
Not to
time.
mention, he's got a great look. Like,
Yeah.
just the
Well,
way he looks like a soldier. I mean, he also looks like he came from West Point, as we find out in the episode, right?
well, that's exactly what I was going to state. You got to think about it. And I think that's what was so unique with all the officers being the first ones to kind of like, in some ways, like harass him a little bit because it's like, look, especially the day that he graduated West Point, which was June 6th,
Oh my god! And this is one of my
1944,
favorite parts of the episode because it's just kind of a funny moment from
with
Nixon
Nixon.
where he
Hmm.
goes, like he kind of laughs in his face, and then he's like, I forget what he says. Does he say "be careful"?
Yeah, be careful, or I think something like that, or don't get
Don't
yourself
get hurt.
killed.
Don't get
Yeah,
hurt. That's what it
yeah,
is.
don't get
And
hurt.
it's just like the way Nixon says it to him is like a parent saying it to their child, like, "Oh, don't get hurt on that jungle gym." That's just the way I took it, and I just think it's funny because I mean, hey, it's so fitting for Nixon's character, right?
Right. Well, I think that's a great way to put it because Nixon, that's why I said, like, a lot of these new officers coming in, you got to remember they're going to be faced with a lot of crap. A lot of soldiers
Yeah,
have went through a lot. And I think so Lieutenant Jones, when you have that moment of him coming in, of course, what does he want to do? He wants to prove himself. He wants
yeah,
to get out there in the field, let him do something. And what is he met with? No, denied, all this, all the harassment he gets. But then he finds that loophole, thanks to Webster, to go, hey, Malarkey's not fit to do this right now. Let him get some rest and let's get Jones in there.
yeah.
But even then, he wasn't like the officer in charge. It was Martin that was in charge, or Sergeant or Staff Sergeant Martin. Then not only that, he was put as an observer, but he shows throughout his time that even though he's the newbie, that doesn't mean, you've got to be, it's kind of like you have to be willing to give these guys a chance because what's going to happen when, and I hate to say it this way, the chance of maybe someone doesn't come back, and now you're going to have to give this opportunity to somebody else. They
Right.
were all new officers at one point too. I get it. Some of them didn't go through the stuff that most of Easy Company did, and especially with Jones. But
Yeah.
Jones is a newbie. He wants to prove himself. He wants to show his men what he can do. You can see the resentment from the men because he's like, "Oh no, please don't say he's in charge. Please don't say he's in charge," because all these guys have experienced so much. And to see a new officer take charge, it's like, how do we know we can trust him? How do we know he's going to not lead us to our deaths in some ways?
And incredible acting, by the way, from Scott Grimes, who plays Malarkey in the
Yeah.
series. And I just think the way Malarkey carries himself in this episode and what they're saying about, obviously he's burnt. You could tell he's burnt out. You could tell like this dude really does need a break. Look, they just got through the Battle of the Bulge, like all that stuff prior to that. Um, and
Now he's
another
going to take on another responsibility too, because now he's being field promoted to lieutenant.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
another big thing that we have to look at.
Mhm.
For him, it's all this stress of the men and everything on him too. But he also knows he has to keep on holding himself up because those men are looking at him.
Mhm.
And now he has to figure out something.
Well, and it's a big testament to what you were just saying too about the new arrivals or the people that were injured and are finally catching up with Easy Company. That one scene that I find very satisfying in this episode is when all the guys in Easy Company get to finally take a hot shower, and the part where the new arrival or Webster's like, I don't need to take a shower because I don't think I need to. When you have Malarkey in there, finally everyone strips down their uniforms, the heavy equipment, and they finally get to have like a few seconds of decompression, after everything that's happened. And it's just, for me watching it, it was kind of a relieving moment in a sense.
Mhm.
I mean, because I've been there before, not been there obviously in war, but like I've been there where I've been like on a big trip and haven't showered for days, and you just feel, it's just that feeling of finally like take a shower and like put on some clean clothes for once.
Mhm.
I'm not wearing the same clothes I've been wearing for the last 2 months. You know what I mean? So it's just a testament to those guys that especially Webster was like, I don't, it's probably not right for me to take a shower just because I haven't been in the line like these guys have. I haven't been doing the same thing these guys have. Uh, and maybe that was just a way to fit in. I don't know. What do you think about that?
So I want to turn my focus to Webster there too. I'm glad you kind of brought him up because
Mhm.
Webster was the main focus here. Webster, you know that
He's
most
the
of this
featured character, right?
well, you know this episode was actually based around some of the letters he wrote.
Okay.
So in his what we've known about Easy Company, Webster did have like a journal or letters that he wrote, and that's where his monologue's coming from. So when you hear him talk, that's his letters.
Those were real letters that he wrote.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I didn't know that. You know,
mhm.
because I always thought just it was the regular narrating like we see from Donnie Wahlberg's character or Lipton's character.
And I'm not sure about that, but I think Lipton's episode also was based off
Really?
letters he wrote.
Okay.
Most of the stuff that you hear him monologuing, that's why I said, like, even like let's go back to episode 2, right? Where
Mhm.
Winters has his little monologue. That's something I believe it's if it's not from a letter, it's from his book because he
Okay.
always swore to that. He said that's kind of like he says, if he made it out of here, he's gonna go find a nice piece of land.
Well, I think that also helps the producers, give a more accurate product,
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly. And that's why I said, like, for this episode, for Webster especially, it's a sense of he's not really a replacement, but that's how they treat him.
mhm,
It's like, you got to remember, and you guys haven't checked out episode 7, please go back and watch it before we get into this part. The fact being that Bastogne or the Battle of the Bulge saw a lot of casualties and a lot of their friends are gone. Like I know that was part of the opening thing with all the old veterans from this, or the veterans from this, and they said, like one of the guys says, I lost about 7 to 9 good friends of mine during this. This was a this was even though it's one of the battles that's set in stone why the 101st is so important,
mhm.
but it is one of those things that when you really look at it, it was the one that led to most casualties for their end too. So when you see Webster come in, it's a sense of resentment because it was like, where were you? You
Yeah.
know, why weren't you here? Why
And then
didn't you do this?
I'm trying to remember, just from the previous because when we do these episodes, I don't go back and watch the previous ones again. I just
He
keep
got hurt
going
in
forward.
episode 4.
But
He
he
got
wasn't 4, and I'm sure I knew that. It's hard to you know what it is for me too with the show is sometimes it's hard to follow people that die, people that get hurt, just the I guess it's the shuffling of casting in this.
yeah.
They do a really good job, but if you don't watch it carefully or it's very hard to lose track of is what I'm saying.
Yeah, him. So he was the kid in episode 4 that gave the little kid chocolate when they came out of the little bunker. That was him. He was the one of their only translators. So for him, it was I'm not sure how he was wounded, but I know he was shot.
Okay.
And I can't remember. I know they showed it in
Was that
episode 4, but I can't
was that
remember
the
that.
episode with High Garden or
That's
Red App
Operation Market Garden. Mhm.
Market Garden? I don't know why I said
Yeah.
High Garden.
Yeah.
Uh,
Operation Market Garden. That's Bull's episode. So if you
yeah,
guys want to go check that out, I'll put the link here too.
check it out.
But
That's a that was one of my favorite episodes so far.
but but that's why I said with him coming back, that was one of my one of the scenes I really enjoyed was him going to truck by truck. And you saw him go to each group, and especially Martin's truck, and they're like, "Oh, go report to second platoon." They need more people. And then when he gets to second platoon, there's not a lot of people in the truck, and Malarkey has been told, or they are telling him that Malarkey's now in charge. And having that moment where they were like, "Okay, you need to report here and do this. You have to do this," and it shows you. And even when he goes to where he's been assigned, you can still see the resentment towards him. It's like in some ways, yeah, we get it that you were part of us, but look at like how they even say it, like how Popeye came back for their or for their for Operation Market Garden, right? Who was shot in the butt and then came back because he wasn't going to miss it. They felt the same way to him. It's like, why couldn't you do that? Why
Mhm.
couldn't you come back? And I think too, it's like we said, a lot of them are under that stress of what just happened. They lost a lot of friends. They lost a lot of people that they loved and cared for. And now some of these guys are coming in, and it's not like episode 4 where you had replacements come in. This was a whole different situation. They had to replenish their units. They had to do a lot of things. So it's a big thing. That's why I said this episode,
But
especially from Webster's.
that's a normal thing though too in war, right? There's always going to be a replenishment of soldiers, right? I mean,
Yep.
if you lose somebody, obviously that they need to be replaced.
Yep.
So, and I think maybe the guys that were already involved and the guys that have been in Easing Company, I think they maybe lose track of that or they lose thought of that because of everything that's going on. They don't think of, oh wow, yeah, that's right. There has to be replacements coming in to help us, right?
Right.
But then you also feel bad for the replacements because they're inevitably gonna get resentment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're probably never gonna get opened up with open arms, right? I mean, I would assume that was Webster. Trying to think again. Was Webster with them from the beginning? He just got hurt.
See,
Was he
that's
at
where
was
that's
he at
what's hard.
Kirahi and everything?
Well, that's what I'm trying to remember. I don't remember him in Kurahi, and I don't remember him in episode 2. The first episode I remember him in is in episode 4. But some of the people he was hanging around with in his unit were from Kurahi and from the early episodes. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to say, was he, I can't even remember if he's in the episode about Blythe. I can't remember him off the top of my head. The first episode I remember him is episode 4,
Mm-hmm.
and with replacements. That's why I said, like, it's I get going back to the whole resentment part. I get it. I get why they do. I get why they don't like him. Like, I think a big thing, and I'm kind of shocked you didn't bring this up yet. You've brought up the shower scene,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things that stands out to me is their uniforms. Like how theirs is more shiny and more clean and pressed. While
Yeah,
you look at the others and you can tell they're more war torn and all that. So in some ways, seeing that too, I'm thinking resentment again. This is another thing like, oh, look at you. You came from a
yeah. I
nice
could tell
cultured
like you don't
place.
have any. Yeah, you could tell like your uniforms aren't frayed or anything like that. Like they're still in perfect condition, and look at me.
Right.
And I think that kind of goes back to the satisfactory of I think I forget who mentions it. Is it maybe Lutz or somebody or Luz? Says I we need a hot shower and we
Mm.
need new clothes. I
Yep.
think maybe it's not him that says it, but somebody does, and that stood out to me because that's one something that doesn't get brought up. I mean, it's like when they went through the Battle of the Bulge, like all the stuff they had to go through there, not even getting enough rations, enough anything, right? No ammo, no any like so you think about it, these guys have been in these same uniforms for God knows how long, They're not getting new uniforms every day. This isn't your typical corporate job,
Right.
like
Well, like another good thing to bring up too is, oh gosh, what is his name? The other soldier that returns after, but you can see it's like he's not met with the same just like
it's not
it
Private Jackson, right?
is. Well, it's the other guy that was at the Battle of the Bulge that got hurt. He came back though. It was he's the one in Kurahi. I can't remember his name, but he was the one in Kurahi that said that's not spaghetti. That's military noodles with ketchup.
Oh yeah. Now with Colin Hanks, I mean, I know this is off-putting, but do you like any of his work at all, or with this? I would say this is probably one of the first things we've seen him in.
I do, but I like him more in a comedy sense more
Yeah,
than I
like
like
Orange. Have you seen
yeah.
Orange County with
Yeah,
him and Jack Black?
yep, I saw that.
He was very good, and FX has done a fantastic job with
Uh,
these. But they've done a couple of them now where they do the docu series, or they'll do like they did in the trial of O.J. Simpson. But Colin Hanks was in the Bill Clinton Monica
yeah,
Lewinsky
I
scandal.
forgot he's in that one.
Yeah, and he's really good in it. I think he's one of the FBI agents, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a few years since I've seen it. I think I saw it when it first. It was one of those where I watched it as it was coming out, and I haven't watched it since. But that was one performance that stood out to me because I always like Colin Hanks. I think just from watching this and being so like tied into the characters and the involvement of the characters within this show, and then to see him get just introduced in episode 8. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
episode 8. We're only got 2 episodes after this,
Yeah.
and he's not even in the other 2 episodes. He's only in this episode.
So I did find the name. It is Perconte. When
Okay.
Perconte comes back, when they're all in there going through all the supplies and everything. So like they were talking about the juicy fruit and the Hershey bars and all that. Perconte
Yes.
comes in, but see again, he's not met with the same resentment as somebody like Webster,
Yeah.
and
Which
because
I think might have to do with
it,
them knowing him since Currahee.
not only that, he was at Battle of the Bulge. That's where he was
Yes.
hurt. So you
Mhm.
got to remember that is a big thing for them because he at least got hurt with us when he came back. You
It's
know,
essentially a pass.
yeah. But instead of that, it's like I said, it's I want to say going back to the Webster situation, I want to say he was with them because he wasn't part of the rookies
Mhm.
situation. But again, I could be totally wrong. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but that's why I said it's like one of the other things I like with Webster is when they're all in there getting briefed on what their job is to going to do, which is going to capture prisoners. They're not there to stir up, it's not in there to start a war with them, or they're already in war, but like a battle with them or anything. The goal is to get prisoners.
Mhm.
And when you see Martin come in, because we find out Jones was able to convince Winters to go ahead and allow him to go on this mission in replacement of Malarkey. But then Martin was put in, or not Malarkey, Martin was put in charge of this little group. Um, and you can still see the resentment towards him, which I feel out of all the soldiers here, I was actually the most confused why he felt more resentment to
Mhm.
Webster
Yeah.
than most. I felt like his resentment, like when you see him getting more pissed and angry with Webster, it's one of those like, okay, why are you like, I can understand like his colleagues, like the privates and corporals and things like that getting pissed with Webster, but why is
Yeah.
Martin more pissed with him?
Yeah.
I just don't understand that portion of it. But out of all of them, I was like, that's probably the one I was kind of like, okay, what's your beef with him kind of thing.
And it's like we get another thing I bring up is like I feel like sometimes we get just random people sprinkled in their company. Like we get like I maybe it's just my attention to it, but like who was the guy that is drinking and he's like he gets
Cobb,
called out for being drunk?
Cobb,
Top
Cobb.
Cobb.
Yeah.
Got it.
Remember, this is the
Cobb.
same issue from same dude from episode 4 that was giving crap to the replacements. Is this the
Yes.
same guy who kept on telling, well, you didn't drop in Normandy? And that's when Bull goes, well, if I'm not mistaken, you didn't either. You know? And he goes, well, I was shot before I could jump out. Yeah. But, but,
I absolutely love the moniker that Webster gives in the very beginning of the episode, the battered bastards of Bastogne, the
yeah,
three B's.
yeah.
I just
It's,
I should have put that in the monologue, it'd been perfect.
that's going to
But
be the name of the episode.
I love it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Um, but it's a good point to bring up. These guys went through hell in Bastogne. They went through the most, and they came out still on top of it.
Yeah.
That's what made it so unique is how
I
much.
love I love the relationship. A little off-putting, but I love the relationship. Not relationship, but I love that camaraderie between Winters and Spears. Like how
Yeah,
they're just next to each other. You get Jones asking if he can take the patrol for that night, and he's like, "No." And he's like, and then Spears kind of goes like follows up. He's like, "You're not going to be leading that patrol tonight." Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just I love Spears, man. He's such a badass. He doesn't care. He's there to do work. I mean,
well, I
the
think
guy
many
ain't there to
people
make
are.
friends.
I think that's what works so well for somebody like Jones because Jones doesn't know his history. He
Yes.
doesn't know the mystery that surrounds
Yeah, he doesn't
Spears.
know what led Spears to get to this point, especially like in his career. Like he doesn't know how Spears got to that rank, or just
Well,
the stories prior to that.
that's why I said too. These guys, or him, out of all people, he won't know, but all the men around him will know the shroudness of mystery or the fog that surrounds him, because we don't still know. Like, there's a lot of factors. Like we know in episode 2 with the POW situation, we don't
Yes.
know a lot of things like that. Now, I believe he's come out and admitted that he did that, and in real life, he off the POWs.
Okay.
Um, but again, that's why I said it's a situation when you really look into this episode. It is a good, how do you say? I want to say a filler episode, but it kind of gives you that realm of now look at here, and now look at their psychology or psychological expressions after Bastogne,
Yeah.
because Bastogne is like one of if they served in other little missions and stuff, but Bastogne was like other than Normandy and Market Garden, this was up there like as one of their main missions, and this probably was the longest one they ever went through.
Yeah.
So it's a lot for them to take in overall. And it's still, like I said, it's still a great episode to me, because after rewatching it, I think that was kind of like, oh, here we go. We're going into the last 3 boring episodes. But watching it out now as a kind of like reviewer, and on top of it, also a, history buff, I'm understanding it. And it makes
Mhm.
more sense to go, you know what? I can get behind this episode a lot more. But
I didn't think about it when I was watching it, and then I was like, wow, that's kind of scary to think about. But like these guys are crossing that river, and we're in the towards the end of winter seasonally. I mean, I don't know how it is in Europe, so don't quote me on that. But like it's late February. But they're crossing that river, and obviously it's cold, right? It's
mhm.
still cold. You can tell, like they're, guys got steam coming out of their mouth or when they're breathing and everything. But like they're crossing the river, and one of the boats tips over into the river, and I'm like, dude, they got to swim through that freezing cold water, get out with all that gear still, and still do their job. Like it's just f that, man.
Well,
Like that
that's why
just
they're in the boat. That's what made me laugh. The boat scene, and when they're trying to go, okay, we got to go in quiet, and then you have 3 of the ones behind them go down in the water, and they're like,
yeah,
"What's okay? We got it." I'm like, and it even Jones is in there to Martin, like, just go, kind of thing. Like it shows you, like, I forgot how close they actually were to each other too. It was only a matter of like a little creek in between both fronts. I forgot that it was airborne on one side of that creek, and then on top of it, then you have German forces on the other. So it was that small that they could take little night raids like them. Like, okay, we're gonna go take prisoners. And then I kind of want to go hearken to the last part of the episode. Now, at this point, we get Colonel Sink, right? When he comes in and he comes over and talks to Winters about the mission that just happened, because we
yeah.
did have one casualty, what was
Jackson.
and it was for a grenade fragment that
And
went
he
off.
was and real quick too, just quick into that, and then we can move on. But with Private Jackson, and was this a normal thing in the war where we had an underage person enlist and kind of get through all the qualifications and background checks and the stuff, whatever background checks they might have had back then? But they said he was 16.
Yep.
Is that right?
He was over age when this happened.
When this
They
happened, but when
Yeah.
he enlisted, he was
Yeah,
16.
and that was common. That was something that a lot of people wanted to go serve, and so they were willing to lie on documents.
I
Then
got you.
what was it? Winters gets told that they're going to do another raid, or they're going to do another patrol, and instead of Winters telling them, "Yes, this is what we're going to do," he pretty much told them, "This is what I'm going to have you guys do. I want you guys having a good night rest. So I'm just going to tell you guys, or I want you guys to report that you guys went in, but it was unsuccessful."
Dude, another winner's W right there.
Well, Winters cares, and I think
He
that's where
does.
he's. I think that's what allowed Jones to somebody like Jones to finally speak up to him. I think Nixon and Spears do it too,
Mhm.
because it's like a sense of like, hey. We got to get these guys some rest, or we're going to be running ragged. And then what's going to happen? We're going to run into situations where these guys are not prepared. And that's exactly what's happened. These guys are tired. That's why Malarkey didn't go on their last patrol, because you could tell he was in no shape or form to do it.
No,
And
not at all.
yeah, there's a lot. And so having these moments where you kind of see Winter shine, and not only that, and he's not even the main character of the episode. That's what's unique too. But it's like he says, and then they leave that station for the next patrol to come in and do that while they're going to march on to doing their final things of the war. Because now it's like you said, it's near the end of the war now. Now
Yeah,
we
because this
finished our
was
battle of the Bulge.
February of 45, right?
Yep. But it's a sense of having this in this story where it's like, okay, now it's the final strides to the end of the war with these guys. It's kind of a unique story to tell. And
Yeah.
the fact being that, that's what I said, it's just a really good story. I recommend anybody who wants to watch this episode to please go in with an open mind. It might be one of the more boring episodes.
And when B Dog says that too, folks, I think personally this is one of the last episodes in this series. I can't even talk now. One of the last episodes in this series where we see a lot of heavy action. I think
Mhm.
compared to the two that follow this, because
Yeah.
we're starting to kind of wind down everything a little bit.
The last two episodes are going to be more focused on either horrors of war outside themselves,
Hmm.
and also the end of the war and what they faced near the end too. So that's why I said it's a really good episode to watch. It's fun to see how the psychology has changed for most soldiers from maybe something like Operation Market Garden to after Bastogne. It's a
Hmm.
situation of having those moments where you can see that, and it's actually really well done. So, yeah, I think this is a great way to kind of end out the podcast, don't you think, Patty B?
Yeah, I know. I mean, compared to our other ones, this was a little bit short and sweet, so we apologize for that, folks. But yeah, no, I think this was great. It wasn't a lot to tackle as much as what we've seen in 7 and 6 or 6 and 7, but no, this was I think kind of dwelled more on the psychological aspects or the after effects of brutal warfare. I mean,
Exactly.
like what we've talked about. So yeah, no, this was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Fans, let us know in the comments what you guys think about The Last Patrol. Let us know what you guys think about the resentment towards Winter, or not Winters. Let us know in the comments what you think about Webster and Jones and the resentment that Easy Company gives to them. Do you guys agree with it? Do you guys not? Let us know in the comments. Also, let us know what you guys love about Band of Brothers. Who's your favorite? What was it? What's your favorite episode? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear that. Check us out at J4F Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at J4F Podcast. You can also check us out on Spotify and YouTube. If you like this content, you want more of it, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit that bell notification so you never miss an episode. Without
Mhm.
further ado, I turn it over to Patty B to take us out.
Yeah, thank you guys for everything. We hope that you guys have been enjoying this Band of Brothers discussion series as much as B Dog and myself have, because we really have. This has been very fun for us. It's kind of bittersweet that we're getting dwindling towards the end of it.
Mhm.
But like he said, follow us on all those platforms if you've been enjoying this and enjoying our other episodes as well. B Dog, thank you as always. And remember, we do it just for Flix.